Record. All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to another episode of Chubby Chad's Sports Show. But unfortunately, you do not have Chubby Chad. You've got Chubby Ginger. I'm Pudge. I'm with you tonight. Chad has got some family stuff going on. He's got his daughter fell and she broke her leg in 4 spots. So get well, Millie. We love you. We hope you feel better soon. So he said she was having a lot of pain through the night. So Chad is home with her. So anyway, we got our boy Geoff Mathews, former college star at the University of Dayton, and he is going to be talking to us about the Bengals, what's coming up here this year, what's going to be happening. We got salaries, we got contracts coming up there. It's Super Bowl week. We got the Super Bowl coming up here this Sunday. So, hey, get tuned in. But first, we got to thank some guys. So thank you, Nimco Gas. Hey, if you have gas, if you heat your home with gas, you got propane out there, you're going for summer grills, you just need somebody to fill up your stuff, call Nimco at 740-596-4477. You'll be glad you did. We thank you, Ray, Bobby, everybody down there at Nimco Gas. We couldn't do this show without you, so we appreciate every single thing you're doing.
And welcome to Chubby Sports Takes with Chubby Chad. Brought to you by Nimco Gas and Ray Chapman. Hey, if any of you guys that are listening to this show use propane gas, you got to give Ray a call at 740-596-4477. This show doesn't happen without Ray. Thanks a bunch, Nimco Gas. Support him, Chubbies.
Hey, support him. Mathews, what's going on, brother?
Well, what's going on, brother?
Hey, yes. Hey, last time I saw you, it got drunk out.
For a few of you, it
For
sure
a
did.
few of us, it sure did. Now, I wasn't in that bad a shape. But our boy CR was in bad shape. He's in bad shape.
He's not even here to defend himself.
Oh, so that's why we're going to throw him under the bus. I cannot figure out what is going on with the shining on this daggone thing. What is going on this video, Mathews? I don't know what is going on. We're going to fix that. So anyhow, let's talk about some Bengals, brother. So what is happening now with the Cincinnati Bengals? What is going to be happening with their so who all's got a contract coming up?
Well, I mean, I think the biggest one obviously is Joe Burrow, right? Because him being the star, being the kind of cog that drives the whole wheel. It's all going to be how he's willing to structure his contract, and then they can decide what they're going to do with everybody else. So I think really it's him and it's T. Higgins who's up. Jamar Chase isn't available for an extension until next year, I think. So to try to be able to keep that core group together, it's going to be tough. But they're saying the right things. Like, you know, Joe being a Southeast Ohio boy, he understands some of that stuff, and he understands he can't do it all on his own. So some of the things I've heard is he's willing. He wants to get it structured in a way that he has some of those rolling bonuses, guarantees year over year, kind of like Patrick Mahomes did back in the day a few years ago.
See, I wasn't following it a whole lot, and I'm kind of just now familiarizing myself with what's happening in all this stuff. Mm-hmm. So I'm reading it right now, and it says Joe Burrow, his base salary is $1,010,000. He got a $5.9 million, almost a $6 million signing bonus. He got a $4.5 million roster bonus. So does that mean is a roster bonus meaning that as long as he's on the playing roster?
Yeah, basically, they usually tie that to a certain date, usually in March, I think. Okay. It's just another way to do bonuses. And so, though, that's his rookie contract, right? And so after your year three, you're able to
renegotiate,
re-up, if you will. And so what he'll do is he'll do a lot of that roster. So essentially, those bonuses are kind of guaranteed money without being fully guaranteed, because if he's on the – I mean, they're not going to do anything with Joe Burrow, right? Unless he fell off a cliff in terms of ability, he's going to be on the roster. So they'll tie a lot of that bonus money year over year. Like if they do let's say an 8-year contract, they'll put bonus money year over year in that thing that doesn't affect the salary cap as much. So it's not as much of a cap hit year over year. And then they can sign people like Jamar Chase and offensive line to keep Burrow off his back and things like that. So T. Higgins is kind of the one that there's a lot of rumors about out there because, I mean, you put him on 30 other teams in the NFL as the number one receiver. But Burrow said that he wants to do what he can to keep the weapons in Cincinnati so that they can have a run as long as they can.
Yeah, I mean, I'm looking at Jamar Chase, and I mean, it looks like he was at his base salary was $940,000. So I mean, he's also he's at $18 million. He's above. Well, I mean, he's at $8 million total on the cap, so he's $3 million below, but they've got his current market value right now at $25 million, and Burrow's at $44.
Right, and so we don't have to worry about Jamar till next year, right? So because he's not eligible for that. New contract until then. But yes, it's going to be. Listen, if they all want to stay together, they're all going to have to make a little bit of sacrifice, and then. The beauty of today's world with all this social media and stuff, they can make it up in endorsements and just
absolutely,
doing posts and things like that. So it's just a matter if they're willing to do that and take a little bit of sacrifice on the front end and just earn it on the back.
Good to see these tackles and these linemen here. I mean, I'm looking Jonah Williams, $12 million.
Yeah, he's gonna have to earn it too, though. He kind of had a down year before he got hurt, and then
B.J. Hill.
I think the line is where they're going to have to. The offensive line is where they're going to have to get. There's talk that maybe Lyle Collins is a cap casualty, the right tackle. Maybe they get somebody in the draft or somebody in free agency for a little bit less money, and then Joe Mixon's another one that they talk about. He's got a pretty big cap hit next year, and. Not having the production.
Trenton Irwin's probably not where he needs to be. I mean, Trenton Irwin's coming in there. He's under $1 million. I mean, what's his market value right now?
Oh, he's probably about right. He's probably about right in there. He's a good guy, good locker room guy, but in terms of
he made some big plays.
But in terms of being T. Higgins or
no.
Chase, he's not. Right, he's in the right place at the right time, which has value. But I don't see him getting much more than that, for many teams.
Jalen Hurts, he's $44 million. He'll be a free agent in 2024. Joe Burrow will be a free agent in 2025.
Well, they're going to sign Burrow this year. There's no doubt about that. And he said he wants to be in Cincinnati his entire career. So
I think he does. I mean, I tell you, I mean he and I think he wants this team to stay together. I mean, I think people comparing him to Brady and everything right now is a little premature. I mean, man, he's still got a long way to go, and I mean, he knows that. I mean, shoot, he's young.
Well, he does, but here's where I'm okay with the comparisons to Brady and Montana and even Manning. I've heard the dude prepares. Like you've heard him say the comment, look, there's no reason to be nervous if you're ready.
Yeah. And
he puts the work in on Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, so that he's ready when they put the pads on in practice, and then of course on the weekend. And look, all these guys in the NFL are freaks of nature when it comes to athletic ability. What separates them is that prep work, right? That film work, that studying, and he does that. So unless that went away for some reason, he's going to be good for a long time, man.
Man, I've heard even whenever he's in high school, his football IQ was just off the charts. I mean, they said that he was just a really gifted, football player. I mean, he was just his football IQ. They say he was always going to be the smartest man in the room when it came to football. Always, that's just the way that he was,
And that's right. And that's where I go back. Like when you said something about yes, in his playing career, it may be early to compare him to Brady and things like that. But where it's not is in that prep work, right? He's got the IQ, and he's continuing to build on it. Like, okay, so I'm going to switch gears a little bit. Let's go to someone like Kyler Murray, right? Kyler Murray won 4 state championships in high school. Then he had all the success he had in college in both football and baseball. And sometimes, and I'm not saying I don't know Kyler Ryder, and I'm not up on his stories, but you hear some of the things. Sometimes when things come to you that early or that easy, you don't work as hard. And let's look at Joe, right? He wanted to go to Ohio State. He went to Ohio State.
He big grinder.
Things didn't work out there. That's right, the grinder, and he's putting it in, early in the week, and that's why he's having success.
Think of the ballsy move. I mean, we're from 30 minutes away from him, okay, and think of the ballsy move that it was from Joe Burrow. Okay, every kid's dream, play for the Buckeyes. All right, he, I mean, this, Geoff. I mean, and I say this as a, from a local guy or a Ohio guy, but I mean, he could have very easily went up to Ohio State, taken his scholarship, done his 4 or 5 years, came back, worked at the bank, done whatever. Called it a day, and told everybody he played football. I mean, he went to state championships at Athens, Ohio. Probably, to my knowledge, that's never been done before. He did everything he needed to do. He was always going to have a good life based on the name that he had already established. But no, this guy says, you know what? That's not good enough. I want to go win Super Bowls, and I want to go be the next, Joe Namath, Joe Montana, or, Dan Marino or whatever. This guy wants to go out and be the, Joe Burrow, and he's doing it. And
yeah,
I mean, to think that came from 30 miles from you and I's hometown is just absolutely incredible for me. I mean, what a story.
You know why I think he's had the success? I mean, other than the preparation, right? But I think he's such a grounded person, and
could be,
and maybe that's a shout out to his parents, right? But he has the swagger, and that makes these players want to come play here for him because he's a fighter. He's got the swagger, right? But he's very grounded, and I think I said this to Chad last time we talked. Just a well-rounded individual, and part of me. Maybe selfishly feels like that's because he's from Southeast Ohio. He can deal with, people from all walks of life.
Could be.
Based on that upbringing. So, I think he's going to have success for a long time, and I think that he's just got all those intangibles that stack up to all the talent that's on the field. Like I said, all those players have it. It's a matter of which ones you really want to put the work in to separate.
So where are you going if you're the Bengals right now? Where are you? What holes are you looking to fill?
Yeah, well, obviously, like I said, first thing I'm doing is trying to find some kind of team-friendly deal for Burrow, but also that pays him like he's worth, right?
Yeah,
and that's where I go back to like some sort of percent of the salary cap type structure, like Mahomes did with that rolling bonus structure. But outside of that, man, I mean, look. Offensive line is where it's got to be. We got to continue to
improve that,
strengthen that up. They played really well until we had injuries at the end of the year.
Yeah, yeah. Hey, they were a better line this year than they were last year.
By far, like it wasn't even close. Like,
and Burrow got better getting out of the pocket, and I mean he got 10 times better, in his game too.
Well, I think that's health, right? Once his knee was better, then he had the appendicitis, and then once that healed out, then you saw him. He was actually, moving around like he can. But so the line's got to be priority one. I think then you got to go to get a little bit more pass rush, right? I think Hubbard's a phenomenal player, but we need at least one other that can really rotate in there and keep that pass rush fresh. Because that's the name of the game. You got to get the quarterback off their spot in today's rules. And then secondary, man. We need when Uzier went down. That was a listen. Lou Anarumo. If he ends up taking the Arizona job, that's going to hurt because he was able to scheme around the deficiencies we had on the defensive side of the ball, particularly in the secondary. But I go offensive line, I go pass rush, and I go secondary. As long as keep all those other weapons on the offensive side. I think we can find a run. I mean, I like Joe Mixon. He seems like he had some trouble here with the law here recently, but it turned out to be, false. But
I like Pirine.
I don't think Joe's worth, $12, $13 million.
I don't either.
When you can pick a college running back up in the third round that has success all over the league. So Pirine's good because of his pass blocking. Like to me, when you got a quarterback like Joe and receivers like
you need somebody back there that can take one.
That's right. So yeah, I like that, and that'd be the areas I go at. And I think that everything I'm reading, that's what it says they're really looking at. So it's just a matter of who's going to be a cap casualty, who's going to get cut, and then that's going to happen to other teams too. So where's there going to be a spot that we can grab somebody that was a starter off another team and just plug them in?
I look for inside linebackers to come back. A lot of these teams are getting beat. Your 7-8 yard, cuts across the middle with these big explosive tight ends. And, these defenses are so spread across the field now with these, with the basketball style offense now, where it's just up in the air all the time. But so they're getting beat. A lot of times you got these big tight ends, I know he's not in the game now, but your Gronks and your Irwins and, the Hurst and all these guys cutting across the middle. And that's where I think, how like you've seen this now, this big power play that Gronk put on here with these big tight ends. I think the next thing to kind of solve that remedy is going to be, going back to maybe your Bosworth style inside linebacker, maybe one of them, somebody that can protect that inside, and not let somebody cut across the middle on you, or at least it's going to, you're going to think about a little bit. And also somebody that's not, that can also drop back and play deep and also come up a little bit too. Somebody with a little bit more athleticism. I don't know.
Well, it's a good point. I think, when you got Travis Kelce and George Kittle and Andrews and all these monsters that are doing that, but I think it's twofold. One, number one, the Bengals have two great linebackers, and I didn't mention that earlier when it talked about contracts coming out. But Pratt is one that's they got to figure out he's got to figure out if he wants to stay here. He says he does, but we're probably not going to be able to pay him as much money as he's going to be able to get elsewhere. So he had a phenomenal year. Logan Wilson's just an absolute stud all the way around. And so those two guys. But I think to your point, the other two areas that really help with that is obviously defensive line, right? Getting pressure, getting your hands up when they're throwing the ball, and then of course safeties, which we're pretty sure Jesse Bates they're going to let him walk and plug in that he'll be a second-year guy at that time, but Dax Hill from Michigan, and then they drafted that boy from Toledo who's supposed to be a freak athlete, but they're going to have to re-sign Von Bell as well. So I don't think it's going to be such a monster contract, but those safeties really help with some of that stuff too.
Yeah.
Of course, when there's not a speedy wideout that's blowing the top off of it, but yeah, linebackers obviously. I mean, it's a quarterback of the defense. They gotta get everybody where they need to be, and then they got to be able to stuff the run and drop back when they need it. So, yeah, you're right. I mean, and in today's NFL, the rules are all for the offense right now. So you can't touch any of them, and they want to see points on the board.
What'd you think of the Pro Bowl being flagged? Would you watch that?
You know what? I did, and I saw some of the highlights. I saw some of the.
I'll be honest with you. I kind of liked it.
I did too. I agree. Listen, I'd much rather have that than I would somebody on my team, the Bengals, get hurt.
Absolutely.
They're playing a game.
Well, and you've watched that game. That's a half-assed effort anyway in pads. It never was like a great game. It was always just about like the home run derby or something. It was just kind of there. Where I think in flag, you at least got to see like a stripped down model of like how football can be played in your backyard.
Yeah. Yeah, and they had fun. I mean,
that's right.
That's what I liked about it. These guys were enjoying it because they were just, playing around like they were in their backyard and having a good time with it. So I enjoyed it, and frankly, I remember back in the day when they used to put the quarterbacks through the skills competition.
I do too. Yeah.
I used to love watching that. So I'm for all that stuff. Yeah, I'd rather see that than see somebody get hurt doing something that doesn't. I mean, they could pull a muscle. Doing flag football as well, but they should, for the most part, shouldn't get a significant injury like they could, fully padded. So I liked it. I'm for it.
They should almost even do like to be in the pro. It should almost be like a rookie bowl maybe, and then like maybe your skills stuff is for your veterans because I mean Joe Burrow doesn't need to be in the Pro Bowl. I mean there's too much on the line. I mean he can't go do that.
Well, he told him though.
Yeah, exactly.
He hit him, Josh Allen. Josh Allen went and played some
golf thing. Yeah.
So So I mean, the fact that they give him the ability to say that and do that. I mean, let's look at it like Huntley, who played 5-6 games for the Ravens, if that many, was an alternate in the Pro Bowl. Like if that tells you anything. Like that guy there's no way he should have been in the Pro Bowl. But at the same time, I'd rather him be out there doing it versus Joe going out there and end up, pulling a hammy or something like that. So yeah, I did. I like the format. I like the fact that they don't have to be there if they, got something else going on or just don't want to risk it. So I'm for it. I think it's a good marketing thing.
Yeah. All right, man. What else been going on with you? Nothing?
Oh, just plugging along. In fact, if you think talking about all the NFL, my son he brought up today, we were messing around here tonight, and he says, was you any good in college? I said, well, I was all right. And he said, well, why didn't you go play in the NFL then? I said, well, listen, buddy, less than 1% of the college players make it to the NFL. You got to be, freaks of nature and really put the work in. And I just wasn't quite big enough or fast enough for that stuff. So, but I'm enjoying coaching his flag football team and running around doing that stuff. So that's where I'm at now.
Yeah, that's a different. I mean, man, you look at the specs on those gentlemen, and I mean, especially the line and stuff. I mean, man,
that's just
different. You can practice all you want to, boys, but if you ain't a certain stature in life, you ain't gonna get there.
I mean, and listen, it's just a fact of life, and you can absolutely, have get you a nice scholarship to go to college. And
absolutely,
play at many colleges across, and that is worth a ton. But and that's a whole nother level out there with these boys, and that's why I'll always say they're get their money while they can, because these owners are making their money, and off of all this TV money, because you and I and everybody else that's watching it on TV, right? So let them go get their money, and because let's not forget all the health sacrifices they made. You got Tua in concussion protocol for 5 weeks, 6 weeks, something like that.
Oh yeah, he basically squished his brain. Basically, listen,
if that's my son, I'd be trying to get him started to quit.
Absolutely. What? So this week we got Chiefs and the Eagles. So what's your thoughts on the Super Bowl?
Yeah, well, if we go back a week or two here, Bengals had their chances. They didn't. I can't blame it all on the refs. They had their chances. I think those offensive lines hurt them, but this ought to be a pretty good game. I was listening to some sports radio today, and I think that I kind of agree with. I think it was Colin Cowherd said, "Listen, I don't know which way this game's going to go. Right? You don't want to bet against Patrick Mahomes. He's one of those type of people that when he's on the field, they got a chance every time. But you look at this Eagles roster, man, and it is stacked from top to bottom. On every unit, there are all pros. And my gut kind of tells me that the Eagles could beat them by more than 10. But like I just said, you don't bet against Patrick Mahomes. So if I can watch it like 2 series, each offense had the ball twice, I think I can tell you who's going to win the game. I'm leaning Eagles right now.
I'm leaning Eagles.
The Eagles are going to.
Yeah.
Yeah. As long as Jalen Hurts' shoulder isn't still really bothering him, I think they'll take care of business.
Yeah, I like Mahomes. Mahomes showed it's hard to take it away from him. He beat us. But I think the Eagles right now. I think the Bengals would have had a hard time with the Eagles. I think anybody's going to have a hard time with the Eagles right now. They're just playing very well. What's your final prediction of Super Bowl?
I'll go. I'll probably go like 35-30. I'm going to take the Eagles.
I'm going to go 42-24.
And I think that's going to be I was going to say. I think that's going to be some late touchdowns from Patrick Mahomes. I'm not sure it's going to be that close, but I hope it is, right? Because that's the only thing I'm watching for now is for a good game in the commercials. I'm
going. Who's the halftime show? Beyonce?
Rihanna, right?
Rihanna. That's right. Yeah, Rihanna.
Yeah.
Well, all right. I'm going 42-24. That's my final pick. So I guess we'll reconvene next week. How's that sound?
Sounds like a plan, man.
All right, brother. Tell everybody we said hello. Appreciate you jumping on here with us, man.
All right. Good to talk to you.
All right. See you, brother. Bye.